Hi guys, this is Genevieve Plays Rise of Berk, and we are finishing our trio of gathering rankings with wood boys and girls today. If I could go back in time, I would revise my fish video, and I probably will in the future. But since the iron video, if there are dragons that share stats, I actually put them on the same ranking. So even though there are 10 for each category, it ends up being like 30 plus. So let's go ahead and get started. How rankings are determined. This is kind of the same as the fish. Fish and wood are determined differently than iron. So I use the companion tool as a basis. So the dragons are not strictly listed in order of gathering rates. I also include time as well. So for example, if a dragon only gathers for 3.5 hours, Droog, it gets a lower ranking. Or if a dragon takes a while to train, it gets a lower ranking. Shorter to train, it gets a higher rank. Within this list, I mean, I don't automatically give short training guys higher rank. It doesn't work like that. But within the top 10 or 15, a guy might make it in or out depending on training time or accessibility, and that's why they're divided into 3 categories: rares, uniques and exclusives, and premiums. The other thing I forgot to say is statues. Dragons that have statues automatically get a higher consideration. So if a dragon has a statue and maxed out, it's better than a dragon that doesn't have a statue. I don't necessarily consider that, especially if it's a dragon statue you may not necessarily build. Now, before I go off on our rankings, I do need to address Big Buff. I put Big Buff at the end of the last video, but I'm gonna go ahead and put Big Buff first. Alright, we all know that Big Buff is number 1. I don't need comments saying, hey, what about Big Buff? Of course Big Buff is number 1, but you can only get Big Buff by either buying him or paying for the subscription. Big Buff is not free to play. So I'm only considering free to play dragons for these rankings. Technically, all of these dragons are available at one time or another. Yeah, you can pay to get them, but they are all available at some point. Big Buff is never available for free. So I think someone had a freak exploration they could get him last week, but otherwise he is only available for paying, so I do not consider him. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on. Our first category is rare dragons. I have a separate category for rare dragons because, 1, they are searchable. Up to a certain point, you have to have toothless at a really high level, but some of them, especially if you can get them at a lower level, are pretty convenient. And so these dragons are available for everyone all the time. And you do have to raise up toothless, but they are always by default available. And a lot of these are often available in exploration events or in the Odin market when another dragon of that same species is available for that exploration or in the Odin market. So even if you can't search for them for a long time, you can actually usually get them pretty early on by searching for them in exploration events. You can also get them in rare packs. And compared to other dragons on this list, they're usually quicker to train. Not all of them, but a lot of them have statues because they're the base species. We definitely need more statues. But also because they're not uniques and they're not as hard to get as premiums, you can have duplicates, and it might be a strategy to use duplicates. So let's go ahead and look at our number 10 rare dragon is Hobgobbler. Now, Hobgobbler has a higher rate than some of the other dragons on the rare dragon list. However, Hobgobbler only gathers for 3.5 hours. And because Hobgobbler doesn't have any other dragons in this species available yet, besides Droog, he hasn't really been available for exploration events. So he's not super accessible yet. He has been in rare packs, but they gather too short. So they train pretty quickly for 56 days compared to, most dragons train longer. But it takes a while to get to getting Hobgobbler with Toothless, and they gather for so short. But their wood rates are really good, so I do have to include them on this list. So number 10 is Hobgobbler. On to number 9. Number 9 is Slitherwing. Okay, so Slitherwing does gather less than Hobgobbler, but because he gathers twice as long, and he's generally more available because there are other Slitherwings you can find in events, so you can find this Slitherwing. He's also in the seasonal market this month, which is just about to end, but he is available. So that's what puts Slitherwing at number 9, 16.2 million at max level. Pretty solid choice for wood. Alright, moving on to number 8. Number 8 is Dramillion 17.7 million per hour with a time of 5 hours 55 minutes. So slightly better than Slitherwing. Not necessarily more accessible, but neither of them have a statue. So by rate alone, Dramillion ranks higher than Slitherwing. Alright, moving on to number 7. So this is where we have our first tie for this video. Eggbiter and Rock Stomper, they both gather for 17.7 million per hour. They have a time of 6 hours and 30 minutes. There's a slight difference in training time. Eggbiter trains a little faster, but once you consider Titan trainings, it's probably not much of a difference. And Eggbiter is available sooner, and I think Eggbiter does come more often in events, so it is a little bit more accessible, but otherwise neither of them have a statue. Their stats are basically the same. There's no practical reason to rank one over another. So, alright, let's move on to number 6. Alright, number 6 is Thunderclaw. I am suppressing my rant about Thunderclaws versus Snafflefangs versus Snifflehunches, because they all freaking look the same. Thunderclaw gathers at 19.5 million per hour. Time is 6.5 hours. This dragon is actually available relatively low compared to the other dragons on this list so far at level 80. So, pretty solid choice to use Thunderclaw if you don't already have better dragons by the time you can get a Thunderclaw. Alright, number 5 is Grapple Grounder and Prickleboggle. We have another tie, because a lot of these dragons have the same stats, so whatever. These both have a rate of 20.3 million per hour. However, Prickleboggle, these dragons also look the same, except you can see the limbs are a little different. Okay, this is just my thing. This is my thing right now, is how similar certain dragons look. Prickleboggle, try to say that 5 times fast. Prickleboggle gathers for 3 hours longer, for 8 hours 15 minutes instead of 5 hours 15 minutes. So if you can get Prickleboggle early somehow, it is a better choice because he gathers longer, like I'm saying, early game. If you can happen to get that somehow. But they have roughly the same training time. Grapple Grounder is available sooner, but these both come up in events. They have other dragons of their species that are available, and they both have 20.3 million per hour. But there is no statue for these guys. Alright, number 4, Silk Spanner. Still no statue. But all of these Silk Spanners are actually on this ranking list. There is not a Silk Spanner that is left out. I mean, there's only like 3 or 4 of them, but they're all on this list somewhere. Silk Spanner gathers for 22.8 million per hour. Time is 5 hours 55 minutes. And you can get Silk Spanner relatively low. I think this is the lowest dragon on this list at 64. I forget what Grapple Grounder was, but I don't think it was 64. So Silk Spanners really, really, really need a wood statue. That would be so awesome because all of them are on this wood list. All right, so let's go to number 3. Now I know the top 3 have statues. It's really sad. I have got 10 technically like 13 dragons on this list, and only the top 3 have statues. Ludia, this is something you need to fix. Okay, anyway, number 3 is Eruptodon. Eruptodon has a lower rate than some of the others. However, Eruptodon has a longer time and a statue. The Eruptodon statue is weird. It's the only statue like this where instead of being 70-30, it's like 60-60. So both resources are boosted about 60%, which is nice because, you know, if you want to use Exotic Cauldron for fish and Eruptodon for wood, or another whatever dragon for wood, and they're both boosted, which is great. So when you do the math for the 60% boost is better than a bunch of the other dragons on this list. So you're more likely to get an Eruptodon statue. Decent gathering time of 8 hours 50 minutes. So that's Eruptodon. But number 2, can you guess what my number 2 and my number 1 are? Okay, number 2 is Triple Strike. You guys probably already know what number 1 is. I wish this one was number 1. But Triple Strike, unfortunately, is number 2. Triple Strike, again, has a lower rate than some of the others on this list. But, okay. Triple Strikes as a species, almost all of them have very good wood rates. So it is a good idea to train up Triple Strikes. Triple Strike statue is one of the first statues that I recommend because there's a Triple Strike in an event like almost every month. Because there's so many of them, and they are very good. I mean, you got Eclipser, you got Star Streak, the 2 premiums are very good, you have Triple Stripe, you know, Sleuther, they're all pretty good gatherers. So you are probably going to use Triple Strikes for gathering wood. So Triple Strike as a rare dragon is really good, and Triple Strike is a really awesome choice for defend. They are very strong dragons, high in the defend rankings. So getting duplicate Triple Strikes, I lost count of how many I have right now. But I have at least half a dozen mostly trained. Anyway, Triple Strikes are really awesome for wood. I love these guys. I cannot sing their praises enough. So triple strikes are great. Definitely they deserve this number 2 spot. However, number 1 goes to Armor Wing. Okay, that curtain takes forever to reveal. Okay, so Armor Wing does have a slightly better base rate. They have about the same boost for wood. I do think that the triple strike species as a whole, there are more better triple strikes than Armor Wings, but Armor Wings as a whole is a pretty good species for wood as well. There are a couple that are only okay, like Nox, but most of the Armor Wings are also pretty good for wood. So Armor Wing is another basic statue that I recommend a lot of people get, and like triple strikes, they come up in events a lot, so it's not hard to get an Armor Wing as an early player. So that's Armor Wing. Fun fact, the number 1 dragon in each category is an Armor Wing. But I still think that there are more good triple strikes for wood than Armor Wings. So there we go. That is number 1. All right, let's move on to our uniques and exclusives. So while these are a separate category, they are not as accessible and available as rare dragons. Obviously, you can't just upgrade Toothless and get them. However, they are regularly available during events, especially now with personalized events. Some of these are available more often. You can also get these in the Odin market, and they're a weird category because there's a greater variability in stats, whereas like rare dragons, you can kind of have a sense of, oh, these are going to be pretty decent dragons, most of them. And premium dragons, you're like, woo, these are really good. And commons, you're like, ah. Whereas like exclusives and uniques are not defined by exclusive or unique. They are very variable. And not all of them have statues, but exclusives you can have duplicates of. So that's why, you know, I include them. If I did 4 categories and did 1 for exclusives and 1 for unique, like the bottom of the top 10 of each of them wouldn't be as good. So I leave them as a mixed category. Number 10, I had to redo this because there are not 3 but 4 dragons that share number 10. They have the same rate and they all have wood statues, and they all have like reasonable wood statues to get. We have Aurum, Exotic Buffalord, Starstreak, and Scardian. They all have 20.3 million per hour, which is usually kind of the base rate on my exclusive unique list. They all have different times. Exotic Buffalord actually gathers a really long time at 26 hours. And as far as training times, the shortest is Scardian at 17 days. So that's pretty awesome. So number 10 is tied between 4 different dragons. So there you go. Okay, so number 9 is tied again. We have Goaty's Gronkle and Toxin. So these do have higher rates than the previous, obviously. They have the same rate, so that's why I have them together, and they both gather a pretty long time, 25.3 million per hour. Now, technically, Goaty's Gronkle, even though the statue boosts fish, there is a slight wood boost, so that does make it technically a little bit better, but not everyone builds up a Gronkle statue right away. There are other statue priorities. So it having a slight boost doesn't really put it as much of an advantage over Toxin, and they're both unique, so you gotta wait for events to get them. Also, Goaty's Gronkle is like impossible to put into the Dragon Bot because of the freaking name, which I am not copying here on the slide. Okay, so that's number 9. Goaty's Gronkle and Toxin are tied. Alright, so number 8 is Duskgust. So Duskgust does not have as high of a rate as number 9, but Duskgust does have a wood statue. And Duskgust is available right now, so hopefully you watch this before the end of the event and are able to get Duskgust. If I wasn't sick, this would have been filmed and up last week, so don't hold this against me. Decent long gathering time, so yeah, Duskgust. Nice unique for number 8. Alright, number 7 is tied again. We've got Sparkheart and Melancholy. Skrills and Quakens both have wood boosting statues, so they both have the same rate, 22.8 million per hour. Sparkheart does gather a little longer, and Melancholy trains a little faster. I don't think Sparkheart has been available in a while, not since the Gauntlet like 2 years ago. And Melancholy was available sometime this past year. But yeah, these guys are great. There are actually 3 Quakens on this list, so I think Quakens are definitely a solid choice to train up a wood statue. Okay, so let's move on to number 6. Alright, number 6 is Foreman! This is our 3rd Quaken on the list. Wood boosting statue, 24.1 million per hour, and there was a personalized search for Foreman just last week. I did it on my own game to get an extra. I wasn't able to get a 4th, but I was able to get a 3rd. So yeah, Foreman. So there we go. Alright, number 5. Number 5 is tied for Triple Stripe and Exotic Foliander. I have to consciously make sure I say Triple Stripe and not Triple Strike. And sometimes I'll say Triple Stripe instead of Triple Strike. It goes both ways. They both gather 25.3 million per hour. Exotic Foliander goes a little longer for 7 hours. They have roughly the same training time, and they both have a wood statue. So the one difference would be if you're grinding your exotic collections, you should be able to get Exotic Foliander, but there are so many exotic dragons, and the exotic collections are hell to complete. So Exotic Foliander is barely no more accessible to Triple Stripe. Triple Stripe does usually come up as available during the 4th of July season for obvious reasons. Alright, number 4 is... Alright, tied again. Okay, Goliam and Biana Silk Spanner. So neither of these have a statue, but they deserve this spot because of their awesome rate of 26.3 million per hour. Biana Silk Spanner, I actually do not have this one. It has not been available in a while, and it was on the list of dragons I asked Ludia to make available, so I hope that they do that soon. So they have roughly the same gathering time as well, almost exactly the same training time. Technically, Goliam is a little bit better because they do have a statue, even if it only boosts wood by about 30%. But also, depending on your playing style, you might end up using Goliam for iron instead of wood, but you might decide to use Goliam for wood. I actually originally trained Goliam for wood and ended up using Goliam for iron. So, there you go, that's number 4. Number 3 is our other Silk Spanner. There are only 3 Silk Spanners in the game, and all 3 of them are on this list. Marooned Deathstrand, awesome rate of 30.4 million per hour with a time of 5 hours 55 minutes and a relatively quick training time compared to some others of 73 days. Ludia, we need a Silk Spanner statue because all of them are on this wood list. So what if they made a Silk Spanner statue, but then made it a fish statue? How terrible would that be? That would be so terrible. Okay, moving on to number 2. Can y'all guess what it is? It's Sparkle and Sparks. 38 million per hour, time is 5 hours, 55 minutes. Awesome dragon. Technically, the Hideous Zippleback statue boosts fish, but this wood rate of 38 million per hour cannot be ignored. Unfortunately, Sparkle and Sparks has not been available in a while, but they are also on the list that I pleaded to Ludia to give us soon. So hopefully they will be available soon. Alright, and our number 1 is... Can you guess what species? Okay. I think longtime viewers of my channel will never be able to forget this dragon. Because of the ridiculous way that I announced the name of the dragon in my legendary video. So this is Liberated Hull Mauler from the Liberated Dragon collection. So once you have turned in Drago's Bewilder Beast, it opens the Liberated collection and there is a chance of getting Liberated Hull Mauler. So technically the rate is lower than Sparkle and Sparks, but with the Armor Ring wood stat, this definitely has a higher rate because 30 million with 70% boost, that brings it up to about 50 million. So that's definitely better than Sparkle and Sparks. Even with like the 30% boost. I mean, they're almost kind of tied, but you are more likely to max out an Armor Wing statue first than you are to max out a Hideous Zippleback statue. So, Liberated Hull Mauler definitely deserves the number 1 spot on the exclusive unique list. And because it's an exclusive, you can have duplicates. So that's great. Okay, moving on to premiums. Premiums are, in some sense, more available just in that they rotate. Some of these premiums haven't been available in a while, but you can get them in premium packs if you are able to farm premium packs with Toothless. And since we've had seasonal markets for the past 2 years, they have been available in seasonal markets. And there are more premiums with statues than without. I don't know how that works, but some of the less popular species that don't have statues, they haven't made premiums for yet. And because they're premiums, not uniques, you can have duplicates, which is really great to dramatically boost your game, like Andrew, who has a ridiculous number of color crunches. Okay, so let's move on to number 10. Alright, number 10 is Droog. Technically, by rate, Droog should be higher on this list, but he only gathers for 3.5 hours. So, I was like, I can't leave Droog off this list, but he only gathers for 3.5 hours. So, get Droog at your own risk. if you want to check your game often, and make sure to train him out overnight. Because that rate, no me gusta. Okay, but Hobgobblers do train quickly because they're little tiny guys. So, that's Droog at number 10. Alright, number 9 is Flash Fright. Okay, so the rate difference between these two is dramatic. However, Flash Fright gathers for a ridiculous long time, and the Fireworm statue boosts wood. I actually am just finishing up training my 4th Flash Fright. I have 3 at like 150 something already, and I'm working on almost done with my 4th, because sometimes I'm not able to check my game, just life happens. My days are not always predictable, or I just forget and I get distracted, whatever. And so the Flash Frights are not going to stop gathering before I am able to check the game. So even when all of my other wood dragons are done, like Armor Wings and Furnace, you know, when all of those are done, I still have Flash Frights going. So I really like using Flash Frights, especially with the boosted wood. After the wood boost, their rate is roughly like mid 30s. I'm doing the math in my head right now. So even though Droog would gather more, after about 4 hours, the Flash Fright has gathered more. And I am not checking my game every 3 hours. I mean, some days I am, but most days I'm not. So, Flash Fright, number 9. All right. Number 8 is Gravedigger and Magmadon. So Gravedigger, the Whispering Death statue, actually boosts fish, not wood. So technically Magmadon is going to have a slightly better boost than Gravedigger, because the Eruptodon has that 60% for each boost, but just by rate alone, 22.8 million per hour, and then Magmadon gathers about 2-ish hours longer than Gravedigger, but because they have the same rate, they do share this slot. So number 8, Gravedigger and Magmadon. On to number 7. Number 7 is Silent Night. The Sentinel statue is actually like a 50% boost on both, but with the 25.3 million per hour and that really long time, and it actually trains relatively quickly, Silent Night is a solid choice whenever Silent Night is available that you can get. Silent Night, solid number 7 on this list. Moving on to number 6. Number 6 is Candy and Cane. I think the one exception might be I'm training up my Candy and Canes for fish. So unless you have better fish gatherers, which I doubt, unless you have better fish gatherers, you're probably going to be using Candy Cane for fish. But Candy and Cane still has really wicked high wood rates, so there is a high possibility of using Candy and Cane for wood as well. And I gotta put them on there, even if I'd rather use them for fish. So 28.1 million per hour with a time of almost 9.5 hours. The statue does boost fish, but if you max it out, it still has a 30% wood boost. So there we go. There's Candy and Cane at number 6. Okay, so Ludia had to go and release a whole batch of awesome dragons while I am in the middle of filming and editing this wood video. So this is a late ad. Sweetheart, I don't want to redo my entire top 10 because I've already put too much agony into this project. But Sweetheart, I would put between my 6 and my 5 currently, so that I have to bump up Flash Fright. But I don't want to do that because I love Flash Fright. But look at that rate, 34.8 million wood per hour and a gathering time of nearly 9 hours. We don't know like training stats and other things yet, but just by what we have from the Book of Dragon, this premium looks awesome. Definitely deserves a spot on this list. So that's Sweetheart. There we go. All right, number 5. Okay, number 5 is Syrinjaka. I still don't know how to say it because it's like syringe. It's from a Greek word. It's like syringe, but then they have the A, so G before A is supposed to be Ga. So I have alternately said Syringaka and Syrinjaka. Anyway, rate is 21.5 million per hour. Gathers for a nice long time. And the Triple Strike statue boosts wood. And I love my Triple Strikes, y'all know that. So Syrinjaka definitely deserves the number 5 spot. I actually have 3. I don't remember how I don't remember how I got the first. And the second I grinded for to get a second. And the third I got in a mystery pack. So I actually use 2 of mine for wood and 1 of them for fish. So anyway, Syrinjaka. Number 4 is Katilkat. Katilkat has a slightly higher rate and gathers longer than Syrinjaka, and has pretty rainbow colors. I love it. 22.8 million per hour, time of 11 hours, 10 minutes. And again, we've got the wood statue for Triple Strikes. I premium hunted for Katilkat so hard, and I only have 1. I wish I had more. So next time Katilkat comes up in a premium pack, I will be premium hunting. I'll probably Twitch stream it, but I will be premium hunting until I get 4 of them. 3 more, for 4 total. Anyway, love Katilkat. Okay, number 3 is Furnace. Furnace, really awesome, 32.9. Again, the Thunderpede statue boost fish. However, if you have other good Thunderpedes like Sleet Beater, or Stonewall. If you're not using them for iron, you might be using them for fish. And if you have Color Crunch, you're probably going to have the Thunderpede statue anyway. I literally built a Thunderpede statue for Color Crunch, but there's still that 30% boost for wood. And with that 32.9 million rate, with a 30% boost for wood, if you have it maxed out, that's still over 40 million. A solid choice, and they train up pretty quickly compared to other premiums. I have 3 furnaces currently trained. I haven't maxed them out yet, but I do have 3 furnaces. I would have 4, but I wasn't able to get the 4th. Alright, so number 2 is Chonky Boy himself, Homfeist. So again, we've got another Hideous Zippleback on the list, which means that their statue boosts fish. However, there's still a 30% boost for wood. So it's going to be over 40 million and a longer training time. But look at that chunky boy. I actually use my Homfeist for wood. I have my 3 furnaces and Homfeist on an island together on my game. So so there we go. There's Homfeist for number 2. And I already told you, can you guess the species for number 1? So number 1 is Gold Rush. I don't remember the last time Gold Rush is available. If you do buy the Rider subscription for a year, then you get a Gold Rush with it. But Gold Rush is also available for free to play, in the sense that Gold Rush does come up in rare packs and premium packs. It has been a while, so he needs to come back. I can't remember if I think I told Ludia that. I can't remember. Anyway, 28.2 million. Technically a slightly lower rate than the past 2 dragons. However, he has a wood boosting statue, so after the wood boost, does gather more than the 2 previous, and like I said, Armor Ring is one of the first dragon statues that I recommend people build, and so you are more likely to have an Armor Wing statue built, and the other Armor Wings are really good, and I mean, his rate is just awesome. I have 2 Gold Rushes. I forget how I got them, but they're really awesome, and they're part of my wood factory, so yeah, there we go. That is our number 1 premium. So looking at all of our top 10s together, we have premiums, uniques, and rares. The bolded dragons have statues. This is that you can kind of take a screenshot, especially when these dragons are available either in rare premium packs or in events. I highly encourage you to go after these dragons. Unfortunately, okay, so it looks like about half of them on the premium and unique exclusive list do have statues, but only 3 of the rares have statues. This is a problem. If I look at the list of just rare dragons that have statues, there are a few more that get up here, but they're not necessarily statues that I would recommend, and their rates without statues aren't stellar, like Skrills and Bone Nappers. So, I mean, they're good for beginners, but not top 10. So, there you have it. This is probably like 40 something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is actually 40. But technically it's a top 30 list. So some comments from my Twitch have reminded me. 1, I do not have Butterball on this list. I thought about it, but I decided not because A, Butterball has not been packed in a long time. A long time. And B, Butterball is better for fish. Using Butterball for wood would be fine. And Butterball, I could maybe even put at the number 10 slot with Droog. But I don't know, I just didn't feel like including Butterball on this list. But technically Butterball does belong by rate. But there are other dragons that I really wanted to include that are more helpful for wood, like Flash Fright, that if I included Butterball, I would have had to kick them out. So that's why I didn't include Butterball. I also didn't include Teenage Rough Runner because Teenage Rough Runner's fish rate is so much better than the wood rate, you are more likely to use Rough Runner for fish. You know, if a dragon is better at something, even if they have a good rate, I am less likely to consider it on these lists, but I did still include Canadian Kate. So, putting that note in there. Alright, thanks for watching. This is Genevieve Plays Rise of Berk, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye!